Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bar Talk. I'm Glenn Kennedy. This is my co-host Charles Mutz.
Glad to
How
be here.
how you doing today, Charles?
I'm doing good. The sun's out. This is a good California spring day, and even the orange trees out front of the barn are in blossom. We couldn't ask for a nicer day in California or
Oh,
anywhere.
you're absolutely right.
Right.
It's a beautiful day.
Day.
So, what would you like to talk about?
Well, Glenn, I'd like for you to do today the different streets in West Covina because you know the history better than anybody else in West Covina and the pioneers and how they were named. I mean, they aren't after, they were just named
Yeah.
years ago.
Oh, okay. I will tell you that when Lucky Baldwin foreclosed on the workmen and temples, he took over this area and he named all the major streets. Where would you like to start at?
Well, I'd like to start at Sunset and Orange. Let's start
Okay.
right here.
So, Sunset is obviously named after the beautiful sunset. So, if you look straight down Sunset at the end of the day, you got a beautiful sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And Orange is obviously named after the orange trees.
Sure.
So, but what people don't know is they both Orange and Sunset run in a straight line from the 10 freeway to Valley Boulevard. And the reason why, back in the day, that was part of the Pony Express.
Oh,
Okay, so
see, I
and
didn't know that.
somewhere in between Orange and Sunset, there was a station, a Pony Express station. I don't know where exactly, but it was somewhere in that general area.
That's
So that's why they run in a straight line.
oh,
So Francisquito, let's start at Francisquito. So
okay.
Francisquito is named after Rancho San Francisquito, which was a rancho that was in between Live Oak and Valley Boulevard and the 605 freeway and ran west to almost to where Santa Anita track is. And it butted up against the Rancho Santa Anita.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Francisquito comes from. Merced, same thing. It was Rancho La Merced, and that was an original home of P.F. Temple and the workmen's. And I've been there once, and I guess the original owner, I can't remember her name, but I think her last name was Soto. She had purchased it from the mission, the San Gabriel Mission,
Oh,
and
okay.
and she purchased all that property for 50 heads of cattle.
Yeah, I know.
so that was a lot back in
Oh
1845.
my gosh, yes.
And then when Lucky Baldwin took over, he got that rancho. But I think he cut a deal where the lady could stay until she passed away.
That's very common in those
Yeah,
days.
and so I think that's how it went. That's how I remember the story. And let's see, we have Vine.
Why?
I guess there's kind of one. Do we have grapevines here at one time?
Yes, most of the farms had vineyards, and they make trellises, and they would sit under them in the evenings because they were so cool. They were
Okay.
shade, and they used those red big eating grapes, and they were delicious. If
Okay.
the birds ate them, and everybody ate them. So, but that's why you had to stay cool. That was the thing to stay cool, and that was one way they did it in those days.
Okay, and Glendora, we have Glendora Avenue, and obviously it turns into Hacienda Avenue, but
Mm.
back then it was always Glendora Avenue.
Yes.
I guess it must have ran to Glendora,
Yeah, I would think
or
so.
named after the city of Glendora. And then you have Belinda. Now Belinda's is the tricky one. Belinda's probably the only one I could never figure out. I know what it means. It means beautiful in Spanish. I know that one of the Olinda girls, the Brea Olinda, that guy had like 11 daughters.
Oh, so yeah.
And one of them was named Belinda, and I think she married a workman.
Okay,
But
that makes sense.
that's as far as I got. But I don't know who named it. I don't know if the county named it or the city named it, because the records when they actually named it, because it used to be past the Camino Road
Sure.
back in the day, and when they renamed it, if the city did it, they had thrown out all the records. When the new city hall came in 1968,
Mhm.
whatever records they had from 1923 to 1968, they got tossed out. So all that history is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked on the county, but there's just no information.
Well,
So
that's
I'm kind of guessing, but
mhm.
I didn't know if it was because they did make up words, put two words together, but that's all I could come up with.
I think that's a beautiful area over there. So
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
think that makes sense. It really does.
And so let's say what else we have Amar, and Amar is named after the um, Augie Amar,
Yeah,
the family,
family,
and
Mrs.
they were
Amar.
original Bassett settlers,
Hmm.
and in fact that's where suburban water
Yes,
came from. In fact, he was a water master
yes,
of his time. In
that's
fact,
right.
he had a lot of water rights, and back then, if you had water rights, you were the king.
Yes, water rights for, and she could play good canasta.
Yes.
She had, I think it took 3 or 4 decks, and she had electric canasta shift.
Shifter.
Yeah, I guess I always remember that. They played canasta in those days.
Oh,
The
wow.
ladies did. And,
So, well, one day we'll have to get Andy McIntyre in here.
oh
And
yes.
he I don't think anybody knows more about water than that guy in this
Oh no,
city.
he
So
can tell
we'll
us.
have to interview Andy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
And so let's see. And then you have Temple, and it's named after the Temple family.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, let's see, what else is over there? You have the Santos, and that's named after the Santos family, and they were big landowners. They owned from the top of where BKK Dump is, the
Mm-hmm.
Crown, all the way to Valley Boulevard. So they had a lot of land.
Yes,
And let's see,
lot.
Nogales.
Nogales.
Well, Nogales means walnuts in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
So
that was all walnuts back then, right?
All
That's
walnuts.
why you have the city of Walnut.
That Wallace was king. in those
Walnuts
days.
was king. So let's see. Then you had Grand. Now Grand was Grand north of the freeway, or back then north of Highway 99, and the other side it was called Oregon Street.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Didn't know that.
yes. And then Barranca is a Spanish word for gorge or river,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a beautiful name. I've always liked the name Barranca.
Yes,
that's
it
a
is.
beautiful name.
It stands for what it stands for too.
Yes.
It very makes sense.
So, and then we have citrus, which is all the citrus fruit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and then we have Hollenbeck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Hollenbeck is named after John Edward Hollenbeck, and he was a big time banker in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And he had purchased property at Rancho La Puente, Rancho Azusa, and part of Covina. So he had little spots here and there all around, and some in West Covina. And let's see, you had Azusa, and we all know city of Azusa. But before it was the city of Azusa, it was Rancho Azusa, and that was owned by Harry Dalton.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So that's where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have we have Lark Allen,
Mm-hmm.
and we all know it's named after Ellen Beach Yaw, who was the rock star of her time,
Sure was.
and probably was the most famous resident West Covina ever had.
That's correct.
I think so,
The-
because she was like the Elvis Presley of her
that's
day.
right. Mhm.
Yes,
Yes. That makes sense because
Yeah.
didn't she start that Lark Ellen boys school?
she did start the Lark Allen
Over-
Boys School,
Oh,
and she
yeah.
did a lot of good.
She did.
She did a lot of good,
People
and
liked
she
her.
she lived. Her original place was right there, between Badillo and San Bernardino Road
Mhm.
on Lark Allen, all the way to Vincent. That was all her property,
Yes.
and then she sold it, and then she moved over there off Cameron and Hollenbeck.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Or no, I'm sorry, Cameron and Barranca. And you got that beautiful home that sits at the corner.
Mhm.
I think the nuns own it now, but I've been in there one
yes.
time.
Mhm.
Oh, it's a beautiful home. It sits
Oh.
on top and then it goes down.
Mhm.
But she lived next door, and she had that bowl where she used to perform.
Okay.
So, and I know like Bill Berger and all the old guys, they used to hear her sing.
yes, they go all
So,
the time.
because she didn't pass away till like after the war, 47, 48,
Mhm.
somewhere around there.
Yes.
So I remember all the old guys used to say when I was growing up, we used to go. It was quite a treat.
that was quite an outing too.
Yes.
You know?
Did you ever hear her sing?
No, I never did,
Okay.
but I knew of her. And she
Okay.
was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. So then after that, going west, we have Vincent, and Vincent is named after the Vincent family, and they were basically at the corner of Vincent and San Bernardino Road. I like both sides. One part's Irwindale, one part's County Covina, but they were in that general area. And then what else do we have? We have San Bernardino Road. Now San Bernardino Road is named after the city of San Bernardino. Okay.
Yeah, we'll give
So
them
I
that
mean,
credit.
it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Now Badillo, now that's a little different. Now Badillo is actually named after the Badilla brothers, and somebody misspelled the O for an A, and but the Badilla brothers were the original settlers there in Covina. They actually were from Costa Rica, and they wanted to plant coffee, and I guess it didn't work out, and they sold most of their assets to Phillips, who was a founder of Covina.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they were over there in the Hollenbeck, San Bernardino Road area. They were there in that general area. Yeah,
Yeah, a big place there.
yeah. And so, what else we got? We got Puente Street, and Puente is a Spanish name. It means bridge. It means bridge in Spanish. And let's see, we have Roland Street. It's named after the Roland family. And then we have Workman Street, and that's named after the Workman family. And then we get to Garvey. Now, Garvey is named after Richard Garvey. He was an army officer, and he used to deliver the mail. So his job was to deliver the mail when he was in the army, and then he ran the Pony Express. Now, the Pony Express is only around for 2 years.
Yeah.
But he was the runner. He ran it for years, and then he saved up enough money, and then he bought a place in Monterey Park, Montebello, that general area, and that's where he retired to.
So that's interesting. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and boy, that's interesting. You know, isn't it amazing all the nice names, the Spanish names before the turn of the century? They're beautiful, aren't they?
Yes.
And they came from so many different countries too, when you think about it. And,
So then we have the street that nobody could ever figure out, Cameron.
Cameron, that's right,
Okay.
Cameron.
So where Cameron comes from, Lucky Baldwin grew up in a small town in Indiana, and his best buddy was General Richard Alexander Cameron. He was a brigadier general during the Civil War. Then after the Civil War, they were actually partners in some type of horse racing thing in San Francisco, and so that's where Cameron
came from.
Yeah, a lot of people, it was like a mystery, because Cameron means like bend, broken nose, or bend in the road in Spanish.
Well, that makes
But that's not where that word came from.
Yeah, okay.
So, and what else do we have? We have Cortez.
Cortez, yes.
Now, Cortez is named after the Cortez family, and I was told they came from the Cortez dynasty. What do you know?
I've heard that too, and I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do. I think that's where they came from. So
Okay.
that made sense.
And then we have Walnut Creek Parkway, which was the Walnut Creek. It actually was the wash, and the Dancer brothers really dug all that out and made the first wash. And you know, they need their due.
Yeah, they do. They do. Digging that out, you know,
Yeah.
would be something. And it was full of snakes and everything else.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it was not a pleasant place at that time.
And then we have Valley Boulevard,
Valley.
and Valley was the main thoroughway. It's part of one of the trails. It wasn't. I don't think it was the Butterfield Trail, but it was one of the. Because Valley runs all the way from Los Angeles, all the way, breaks on and off all the way out to Redlands.
Yeah.
So that's quite a street.
We used to go to Pomona on Valley because our
Yes.
cars wouldn't make it over Kellogg's Hill. You know, on a hot day, you'd have trouble. So Valley was a main road.
And I think I got them all. Those are
I
all
think so.
all the major streets.
Yeah, I think we hit them all.
I think so.
If anybody.
And okay, so we have we'll do another video on this, but there's a lot of little streets named after the original landowners.
Yeah,
There's probably 30 streets, and we'll do that another time.
that'd be great.
And then there's also, we have 7 council members that and former mayors that the streets named after, and they didn't come in until the 60s, because when Vern Moninger and was the mayor, and Joe Hurst and all the old guys were on the city council, they would not name any streets after themselves or any former mayor or any landowners.
Yes,
I don't
right.
know why. Uh, I don't agree with it, but that's how it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got out of when they got out of office, uh, the new council let the developers name the streets.
Yes,
So
that's true. That's very true.
that's why you got the streets the way they're named. Now we had three questions
Okay.
this week, and somebody said I think his name's Mario. He sent us a thing on our Facebook, and it said, "Want to know what the oldest park was, the oldest church was, and the oldest school?" Well, I know the oldest school is Sunset School.
That's correct.
That was built in let me see, 1909,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the oldest church is the Presbyterian Church across the street from Mike Toohey's Dairy
Mm-hmm.
there on Walnut and Vine.
That's right.
And I was that built in the 30s, or was that built before the war or after the war?
I think a little after the war.
Okay.
Yeah, I think after the war, Second War.
And then the parks. So why don't you tell us about the parks?
Well,
Charles?
the parks I don't know too much about. We used to go to the Covina Park because they had the swimming pool.
Okay.
And then when they cleaned the swimming pool, we went to Baldwin Park swimming pool. You know, we kind of switched because you had to let it warm up a little bit after they put the new water in. So, but we always went to the Covina Park, and they had the bowl there where they had entertainment. But we spent most of our time in the swimming pool and playing baseball.
Okay.
And but
yeah, because I know the city had purchased the Cortez property,
yeah,
where Cortez Park is today, and that was 50, 51, somewhere around there. They also purchased the fire department where the fire department sits,
mm-hmm.
but it looked like a ranch house, so they called it the ranch.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
and so Cortez was the first park in West Covina. But when you guys were young, you guys went to Covina Park.
Yeah, because of the swimming pool. That's basically
Okay.
it.
Did you go to any parks in La Puente or anywhere?
Oh, there was a park down there by the high school we used to go to once in a while.
Okay.
They'd have a big celebration down in Covina. That's right. And I mean, Puente, and we'd all go down there, the whole neighborhood. Because, you know, some of the students, high school students, had the choice of going to Puente High School or Covina High School.
Yes.
You could go, and if you liked baseball, you went to Baldwin Park in the spring, and you went to Covina in the winter to play football. So, you know, so we were part of it. I guess everybody was kind of, it was a big city in a way.
Yes.
But yeah, I remember going down. I forgot all about that.
Okay.
Yeah. But Covina was the main part.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, we'd like to say thank you and have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.